Hello creators and crafters! Welcome to my next project on Alli Crafts. For this project, we'll be crafting this Dollar Tree wreath for only $12. Each item is from the Dollar Tree, so if you want to omit the 2 witches' feet and 2 packs of pumpkins, you can make your wreath for only $8. Each item is $1 a piece from the Dollar Tree, so you can pick and choose exactly how extravagant or budget-friendly you want your wreath to be to suit you. One of my favorite things about the Dollar Tree is all of their seasonal craft items are in the same color family, so feel free to get creative and pick and choose different color options from me. So without further ado, let's get crafty and build this awesome wreath. Things you'll need to make this wreath from the Dollar Tree. This is the first item. It is a 14-inch wreath form made out of wire. You're going to need 3 spools of the Deco Mesh. Purple, black, and orange were my choices. I chose the purple one that had a little bit of magenta in it. I don't know if you can tell. You're gonna need a sign for the center. This is the showstopper, the beautiful, fabulous piece. I chose something that had a ton of glitter in it because I wanted my item to be glitzy and glamorous. This deco tubing also is just kind of the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. And then the pipe cleaners in the same color as the deco tubing that you're going to use on the top. Underneath, I decided I didn't want my wreath to be sparse, so I bought deco tubing. It's actually called mesh tubing in this black color to kind of add a nice darkness to the wreath because I didn't want it to be too bright since it is for Halloween. And then the optional items I have here are 2 packages of pumpkins, which if you don't want your wreath to be the extra $12, you can omit them, but the glittery pumpkins really do make a difference to me. And then lastly, I grabbed 2 witches' feet. I only got right feet because they didn't have a left and a right option, but if you can find a left and a right option, it is really cute. And then zip ties for the witches' feet are best, but again, you can use the pipe cleaners. They're perfectly fine and suitable. But now let's move on to our weapons of choice. Tools for crafting. A nice sharp pair of scissors. It's important that your scissors are nice and sharp so that you can cut through multiple layers of the Deco Mesh. A glue gun so that you can glue in any and all extra little decorations that you choose to put inside your wreath. And lastly, this is my absolute favorite item. I actually splurged on this. I typically don't buy myself new tools for crafting and I just use what I have in the house, but I made a wreath before this one as an experiment with scissors and it was so difficult and cutting through multiple layers was a lot trickier. And I purchased this knowing that this is how other people cut fabric and the Deco Mesh for their wreaths or any other projects, and I thought that it was definitely a good investment and it was such a time saver. It took me half the time when I used this rotary cutter to cut through the different layers of Deco Mesh that it took for me to cut through them with the scissors. First, we're going to start by putting on our pipe cleaners across 2 wires and twisting them in the same clockwise or counterclockwise direction per pipe cleaner. Now cut all of your Deco Mesh in 9-inch long strips. Once all of your Deco Mesh is cut, separate each color into a bunch of piles. It's kind of funny because they look like hair rollers. Then I randomly selected one of each color of the Deco Mesh and re-rolled them into equal sized rolls and pinched them in the center and wrapped the pipe cleaner tightly around them. Make sure you are consistent with twisting your pipe cleaners in the same direction to ensure nothing comes undone. Here I wanted to show you all a close-up of how I twisted the mesh tube bows. You can be very liberal when making these, roughly the size of your hand. I discovered the bigger the better the wreath looked because they really fill in any sparse areas and the reflective quality of the tubing is gorgeous. When placing the mesh tube bows on, I found it looked best to place them perpendicular to the direction of the Deco Mesh rolls. It really helped eliminate any gaps that were visible and really filled the wreath out. Again, I want to emphasize, make sure whenever you are twisting your pipe cleaners, you are twisting them all in the same clockwise or counterclockwise direction. I put the black mesh tubing on first because I wanted the green mesh tubing on top for extra contrast. Here I just wanted to show you a second time how I twisted the Deco Mesh tubing in case you didn't want to go back in the video. I just want to take a second to point out again how important having really sharp scissors is because whenever you're cutting this mesh tubing, you want as little fraying as possible. The same goes when placing these green bows on. Just make sure that you are placing them perpendicular to your black bows. And once you are finally finished placing all of your bows on, it is time to put your sign on in the middle. So what I did with the sign is I made sure that I got it exactly where I wanted it to be, and then I tied it in. There's a hole in the top that you can place the pipe cleaner through and then just wrap it around the wire of the wreath. Now for placing on the feet, if you so use to choose them. I'm using zip ties, but it's perfectly fine to use pipe cleaners. I just like the sturdiness of the zip tie. In case I decided to pick the item up by the feet, I knew that they were extremely secure on there and the zip tie was not gonna break, and neither would the wire frame. Just make sure you pull your zip ties nice and tight because you will find yourself picking and moving your wreath up by the feet, and you don't want them to move and shift around. You just want them to stay exactly where you place them because you know that the image on the front is nice and center with your feet. If you do have a pair of wire cutters, it's best to cut the zip ties with them because it will save your scissors in the long run. Once your wreath is done, you'll be happy you pulled your zip ties nice and tight whenever you pick it up by the feet because it's very convenient, and you'll be also very happy that you went and grabbed your wire cutters. Now I'm opening my pumpkins carefully in case I decided not to use them. The Dollar Tree offers exchanges only, but not returns, so I didn't want to destroy the packaging in case I chose to exchange these pumpkins for something different. Once you get your pumpkins dumped out, you're gonna wanna play around with them in different spots and locations. So what I did is I kind of just shoved them in different areas and got an idea of how it looked when I was standing above the wreath. It's best to do it standing and not sitting down, I found, and I kind of just got an idea visually of placing them in different areas and how it was going to look before I decided to glue them. Now remember everyone, your wreath is more than likely going to be on a door, and doors open and close consistently all the time throughout the day, so you want to make sure you put on an ample amount of glue so that your pumpkins don't fall off. Also, during this gluing process, take your time and be very patient because you want to make sure you hold that pumpkin in the spot that you want it to remain in while the glue is drying. You definitely want to give the hot glue ample opportunity to dry in the location that you want that pumpkin so that it does not move. And alas, our wreath is now complete. I would say total time until completion was roughly 2 hours depending on how long it takes you to cut the Deco Mesh, which is why the rotary cutter was so great. I really hope this video has inspired you to get crafty, regardless of your skill or budget. These wreaths are so affordable, they make wonderful gifts considering a similar one at Michael's would probably cost around $50 to $60 depending on which store you visit. Gifts made from the heart are thoughtful, and I've found if I make a gift for family or friends, they value it so much more than if I just pick something off of the shelf for them. Thank you so much for watching, and I truly hope you enjoyed my first wreath video. I have 2 more Halloween wreath videos I'll be posting in the next week or 2 to hopefully show you a few different wreath opportunities and looks you can get from the Dollar Tree's offerings. If you can't find Halloween decor anymore at the Dollar Tree, you can visit your local craft store. Be sure to check their website for coupons though. The reason I chose the Dollar Tree was because I knew you could buy small quantities at an affordable cost to make a single wreath if you're not wanting to make a bulk investment in craft items. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.